So you looked at all the images of Blackwater aquariums on the internet, you like what you see, you want to know how to set it up, but you don't know where to start. Alright then, so to start a Blackwater aquarium, obviously you're going to need a few different things. The first one being an aquarium of some sort. You are likely going to be using some elements such as driftwood or bogwood or some sort of type of wood that has been dried out and ready to put in an aquarium. One top tip with using any kind of wood is to make sure that it has been boiled before putting the item into the aquarium. That solves two issues. Number one, it gets rid of any nasties that may be on the piece of wood, and number two, soaking that wood is obviously going to start to help it sink better. This one obviously varies on the habitat that you're trying to replicate or any kind of aquascape or whatever you're looking for there, but sometimes people would use various botanicals such as leaves or seed pods or cones of sorts. Some of the very popular ones in the hobby are, as mentioned in the previous video, catappa leaves or alder cones, but there's plenty of choice out there. There's jackfruit leaves, Texas oak leaves, or even something like a Buddha pod. Or a monkey nut pod or something like that. Next up is some sort of filtration system. A lot of people in the hobby tend to go with something such as a sponge filter. The reason people use them is they're very convenient, they're cheap to run, easy to clean, and also if you're replicating some sort of habitats in the wild, a lot of these rivers might be slow flowing or there's not a lot of flow at all, so it's really helpful to sort of help create that sort of more natural environment. If you're creating a more sort of a fast flowing river stream, then you could use a hang-on filter or something that sort of pushes the surface agitation and makes a bit more of a current in the aquarium. Next up is lighting. I don't want to go into too much detail on this one, but it's very important to have if you're creating your aquarium at home. Number one, so you can see what's going on, but number two, it sort of creates the nice mood in the aquarium itself. If you're looking for lighting sort of recommendations, some people tend to use a very low light setting on their aquarium, so it's not so intensely bright. That way it creates a more sort of calmer, neutral environment for the fish, and obviously in that low light, fish tend to get a bit more comfortable than having something like very bright in their face all the time. Another thing that people tend to add to their aquariums, depending again on the habitat you're creating, but if you want to give it a bit more color to the tank, some people add plants. I'm a big sort of advocate of plants in any aquarium, especially live ones. They, number one, brighten up the tank, give it a bit more diverse color, but number two, the health benefits that come from plants just being in the aquarium is really good. They're a great place for animals to hide in. If it's moss or something like that, then that's a great place for, again, fish to lay their eggs in. And also they are a natural filter of any sort of ammonia or nitrates in the water, so it's a good natural method of filtering the water in your fish tank. And last on the list is a heater of some sorts. Many of the fish that we have in the hobby, especially in the freshwater side, come from many tropical environments, so may require the temperature in the tank to be a little warmer than say the water that comes out of your tap or the room temperature. Generally, as a rule, I feel that most rooms in the house should be at the right temperature anyway, so you don't really need to worry heavily on heating systems, but it's always good to have just in case there's a problem in the house and it doesn't get hot, or if you've got them outside in a fish room or a shed or a garage or wherever you have. Yeah, obviously a heater is a big sort of part of the process. One last thing that many people would probably recommend having at your arsenal in any aquarium setup that you go for in the hobby is a test kit of some sort, just to make sure that your aquarium is cycled when you're sort of beginning, and just sort of keep an eye on those parameters, especially if you're adding botanicals, because too much too soon can cause parameter swings, especially in the pH, so it's good to go slow And yeah, that's probably the biggest element to starting these aquariums, is a bit of patience, really. That's it for now. Next week we're going to be talking about what type of botanicals there are in the hobby, what sort of things you can add to your aquarium, how to prep them, and then how to introduce them to your fish tanks. So make sure you stay tuned for that. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of these weekly videos that I'm doing, especially on the Blackwater aquariums. Or if you want to check out any of my other videos, then head over to my my channel and see those. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think of this video in the comments below, and sort of what ideas that you've got to set up fish tanks. If you want to help support the channel, there is a link to my Patreon account in the comment section below. There's also a link to my merch store if you want to buy any of the sort of the merch that I'm wearing in these videos. If you want to follow along, I have a social media profile, so head over to them and definitely check out my pages. And if you want to have a conversation, you can message me on there as well. And until next time, you stay safe.